Hello and welcome back to Empowered Boundaries with me, Simona VVH. In this video, we'll be taking our first pass around the spiral. The boundary concepts we'll be working with are boundary types and the boundary spectrum. There are many correct ways to categorize personal boundaries. For purposes of this course, I've grouped our boundary types into outer boundaries, inner boundaries, and functional boundaries. Your outer boundaries are an outside layer that creates space between you and the world around you. They give you room for discernment about what you take in to the sanctuary of your mind. Your inner boundaries are an inside layer. They give you privacy and create a pause between what you think or feel and what you say or do. Your functional boundaries are your boundaries in action. They're how you create limits. Your functional boundaries define what behaviors are and are not okay with you, as well as your response to those behaviors. Now let's take a look at our first metaphor for the boundary types, and then I'll introduce you to the boundary spectrum. One metaphor for our boundaries is an orange. We can think of the rind, the bright orange on the outside of the peel, as our outer boundary, and the pith, the white on the inside of the peel, as our inner boundary. And if we picture the orange as a cartoon with little cartoon legs walking around in the world, those are our functional boundaries, our boundaries in action. Now that we've traveled our first pass through the boundary types, let's talk about the boundary spectrum. You can think of boundaries on a scale from porous to rigid, where porous boundaries are open and permeable, and rigid boundaries are closed off and impervious, and healthy boundaries are flexible. Another way to think about healthy boundaries is that they're intentional and aligned. And we'll be exploring more what it means to be intentional and aligned and flexible with our boundaries as we continue to travel the spiral deeper in the coming videos. I have more to share with you in this video, but for right now, I'd like to pause and ask you, now that you've had a high-level introduction to the boundary concepts of the boundary types and the boundary spectrum, what's stirring for you so far? What's stirring for you so far? Are you ready to take this deeper? I'm about to ask you some questions designed to support you in getting the most out of this course. What we're doing with these questions is we're inviting in a little bit of tension, and I want to let you know why. As we travel this boundaries journey together, we're inviting your brain to consider unlearning any outdated or misguided programming around boundaries and to take in whatever information feels aligned. For our brains, familiar equals safe, and learning is calorically expensive, which means from a biological perspective, our brains need enough discomfort for the change to be worth it, which is why we want to invite in a little bit of tension here with these questions. And at the same time, our brains also need enough safety so that our system doesn't shift into full-blown survival adaptations, which is one of the reasons we pause along the way to digest the information and invite our inner wisdom to notice what's feeling aligned and what's feeling important to us so far. Now that you understand why I'm asking these questions, I'd like to invite you to contemplate or journal the following questions, and you can find these questions in your course workbook as well. You ready? Do you ever feel guilty or overwhelmed related to boundaries? Do you have healthy boundaries in some areas of your life, but less so in others, or with some people and less so with others? Do you ever prioritize others without including yourself in the equation? Do you ever prioritize others without including yourself in the equation? On the topic of boundaries, what's frustrating or not ideal right now? Finally, and this is a multi-point question, what could life look like with a deeper understanding of how to create healthy, and aligned boundaries? And for this question, you can think about what you want, what's your dream, why you want it. What could life look like with a deeper understanding of how to create healthy and aligned boundaries? Before I say goodbye, I want to let you know that in the next video, we'll be going deeper with our outer boundaries, including the 2-question clipboard trick. In the meantime, take your time contemplating and journaling these questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.